This is Candis Cayne, and this is how it got better. I grew up in Sacramento, California. I have a twin brother, Dylan, and my mom and dad and me. And so there was the four of us. The first time I thought I should have been a girl. I was playing with my brother, and I remember at 7 thinking, I'm born in the wrong body. People would always come up to me and say, are you a boy or a girl? You know what I mean? That was a question I've heard my entire life. When I was 10 or so, my parents got a job at a Waldorf school teaching in Maui, which is this kind of creative way of teaching. So we all moved to Maui up in Kula and lived on campus, and I went to that school also. I think I was 11. We went to this place called Hana, and we went to the end of the pier and we saw these kids jumping off. And so I ran to the end of the pier and I jumped in the water, and all of a sudden kids started jumping on me. And I realized that they were trying to hurt me. That was like the first time that I had an experience of I'm different. I really was lost my freshman year of high school. I remember one time coming home on the bus and the kids were throwing gum in my hair. And I was sitting there and I just wanted to get home, and they were trying to cut my hair with scissors. And so I got off the bus 3 miles and I just cried walking home. It just wasn't bearable, you know? My parents sent me to Los Angeles for my junior year of high school. And I was really excited. I was gonna get off Maui. I was gonna be around people that I was gonna get along with. About 3 months in, I get called into the office and they say, you're leaving tomorrow. And I say, why am I leaving tomorrow? I'm going to a U2 concert next weekend. And I'm just started in this dance troupe. I was devastated, and I went back to one of the teachers' house where I was living, and she looked at me and said, you know you're getting kicked out because you're gay. And what you are is dirty, and what you are is evil. I was like, what do you mean? I had never even uttered the words, I'm gay. And she was there saying, get out of my house. And that was like another big moment in my life where I saw firsthand the devastation of true homophobia. That time in my life was that time where you really feel like it can't get better, because there's no way at that age to ever think that in 3 or 4 or 5 years, you're getting on a plane, moving where you want to be and living your dream. Because right now, that moment is all-encompassing. I think the only reason why I kind of got through it is, you know, my parents were there for me. They have always taught me to be who you are and always be true to yourself. I was like getting harassed and teased and pushed and hit, but I still wore eggplant prism hair. You know what I mean? Because I was like, fuck you, you're not gonna take me down. I remember seeing a video of a gay pride parade, and it was like, oh my God. You know, there's people off the island that are like that are like a tribe that I can find. And so when I realized that, no matter how I was gonna do it, I was moving to New York. That was where people like me existed. I went as far as I could in Maui, and I found somebody that could get me a scholarship to this world-renowned dance studio called Steps in New York City. I was 19, so with like $400 in my pocket, I'm like, Mom and Dad, I'm leaving. I remember them going to the airport, and they, you know, watched me leave, and they were like, bye, I'm going, high kick, you know, just, I gotta get out. And so I was like sleeping on a couch for $300 a month, and I was taking dance class at Steps. And then I saw some ad or something for a job called a Miss Kitty Girl. Every Saturday I would work at the Roxy, and I would get all done up and I would have my tray and I would sell cigarettes and candy, and I started networking and meeting everybody in the club scene because that's really where I felt at home. That's where I was when I figured out that I was trans. I was alone and I was finally didn't have roommates, and I was finally had time to sit and be who I wanted to be and realize one night staring in the mirror, it was like a bad movie, like those old 1920s, mirrors and makeup tables, And I saw this kind of purple aura around me, and I had this I want to grow old as a girl. I don't want to grow old as a boy. So at this point, when I started my transition, I was just finding my footing and getting well known. And I thought, being an actor as it is a long shot. And then being effeminate is another long shot. And then you add trans on top of that, and it's almost insurmountable. I was like, I'm gonna do it anyways. I want to do this regardless of what happens. It's a part of me. It was 2007 when I auditioned, and I got cast to play Carmelita on the show Dirty Sexy Money. It was a really powerful moment for me to know that I was the first person to get this kind of role, to be out and be playing a trans role. It was about pushing the fabric of society forward and opening up the idea and the concept of trans in the world as a part of our community. I'm surprised, to be honest with you, how quickly we went from 0 to 60. 10, 15 years ago, if I ever thought that there would be a Caitlyn Jenner and a Laverne Cox and a Trace Lysette and a, Zachary Drucker and, all of these amazing artists and actresses and, people that are so widely known now in the trans community, I would have said, shut up. But I'm tickled that our culture is now one of being able to hear trans voices and eventually being able to accept trans people in every part of the world. I've had some crazy stuff happen to me, and stuff that a lot of times really brings you down to the lowest low. But what I look back and remember about it is that these moments, if you allow them to, can strengthen your character and strengthen who you are as a person. How can you possibly not be right if this is who you are? What and who you are is incredible. And someday, people are gonna see that. Right now, maybe everyone, your family, your friends don't see that, but someday someone will. And you have to know that. When I started my transition, I called up my only trans girlfriend that I knew, and I said, I want to do a shot. I want to start this. And she was like, no. And I'm like, what do you mean? I just decided. She's like, no, girl, you are gonna get a month and a half of electrolysis first, and then you come to me.